Hey guys, just a quick update before we get going. The Fatal Fangs 3 contestant list has been decided and Arachnoshack will be taking part, so I'm super hyped. If you don't know what Fatal Fangs 3 is or what Fatal Fangs is, I suggest you go on YouTube and check it out. But in a nutshell, it is a tournament between the YouTuber community that battle it out head to head with their best feeding clips. So Fatal Fangs 3 is being hosted by Amy over at Pet Rock and Roll. I just want to throw out a massive thank you to you, Amy, for letting me be part of the tournament. I'm super excited, can't wait for it to start. If you've not seen Amy's channel, Pet Rock and Roll, I will leave a link in the description. I suggest you go and check her out. But that's enough from me talking. Let's get on with today's video. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the shack. How is everyone doing? I hope you are well and I hope you're staying safe at these crazy times we're going through. If it is your first time here, then a massive welcome to you. My name is Josh and you're watching Arachnoshack. So today's video, bioactive enclosures, but more importantly the importance of a real sturdy substrate. For me, the substrate is the most important part of any bioactive enclosure. So first off, what is a bioactive enclosure? Now, a bioactive enclosure is a small replication of an ecosystem found in nature. Now within this ecosystem there is a balance between animals, plant life, microorganisms living within the substrate known as detrivores, fungus and bacteria. Each one of the inhabitants rely on one another in order to thrive within this ecosystem. So how does it work? So let's start with our host, or the top of our food chain. In our case, obviously, it's going to be a tarantula. So once our tarantula has caught and fed on the prey items, any waste produced, either in the form of fecal matter or leftover pieces of decaying prey, will be then broken down by the detrivores. The waste will also get broken down by the fungus and beneficial bacteria within the substrate, turning it into a usable food source for the plant life. Any decaying plant matter, leftover pieces of tarantula molt and even mite eggs will get consumed by the detrivores. They will literally consume all of the stuff that you do not want within your enclosure. And this will radically reduce the amount of spot cleaning required by you, the keeper. It will give great longevity to the life cycle of our enclosure. This balance between the inhabitants is absolutely key in the natural maintenance and cycle of our enclosure. This balanced cycle is very much dependent on our substrate, as it supports all of the key components within our ecosystem. And this is why a good substrate is so important for any thriving bioactive enclosure. So why do we use bioactive enclosures? Bioactive enclosures provide natural settings for our pets and promote natural behaviour. As previously mentioned, they're self-cleaning. And with the micro-inhabitants, or clean-up crew as they're often referred to, breaking down all of the waste matter, it greatly reduces the amount of spot cleaning that needs to be done by us. Besides these benefits, they look amazing and can be a real good showpiece within our homes. So now we know what a bioactive enclosure is, we know the importance of a decent substrate. I'm going to let you know what we need to make a substrate and where you can get it from. The amounts that you're seeing on screen are to make a single batch of substrate. When I mix mine up in a moment, I'm going to be making a double batch. So I will be adding twice what you see on screen. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need is some sphagnum moss. Now sphagnum moss can be found at most pet shops, garden centres, online. You can get it pretty much anywhere. Now it either comes in compressed bricks, which you have to hydrate in order to use, or you can get it in pre-hydrated loose bags. I normally go for the compressed bricks because with the stuff you get at garden centres, it may not necessarily be pet friendly. At least with the compressed bricks that are from a reputable supplier then you know they're going to be clean and sterile. Okay, next is cocoa fibre. Now again, cocoa fibre is widely available. I personally get mine from Amazon. You can get it from pet shops, you can get it from most pet websites. It's very easy to get hold of. Now again, it comes in compressed bricks that you have to hydrate in order for it to expand to then use, or you can buy it in loose bags. I prefer to buy it in loose bags as it's dry and you haven't got to mess around expanding it. It's just, I find it easier to use. So next is activated carbon or charcoal. Now I've been using aquarium charcoal for a while. It's pretty much identical to activated carbon at a fraction of the price. You can also use untreated lumpwood charcoal, but it needs to be broken down into small pieces. This can get quite messy and it requires quite a bit of elbow grease. So next I'm going to be using coconut husk. Now coconut husk is essentially coconut fibre that just hasn't been broken down as much, and you normally get this in 5 or 10 litre bags. Again, it can be found at pet shops, Amazon and most online stores. So next is orchid bark. Again, orchid bark you can get on Amazon and from most pet shops. It also comes in 5 or 10 litre bags. A 10 litre bag will set you back about £8–10, so it's relatively inexpensive. Okay, so last but not least is sand. Now I'm going to be using a desert sand that would normally be used for reptile enclosures, but you can also use play sand, and I wouldn't recommend using building sand. Again, you don't know whether it's sterile, and it's just safer to go with a reputable brand. Okay, so now we know what a bioactive enclosure is, the importance of a substrate, what we need, so let's get mixing it. Now the first thing I'm going to do is add the sphagnum moss. This has great water retention and breaks down slowly, providing food source for the detrivores and the plant life. I try to break it down as much as possible so there are no oversized or compressed chunks. Next I'm going to add the cocoa fibre. This is great at holding moisture and is relatively mould resistant when mixed with the other components used in this mix. I mix it together with the moss, using it to further break down any large chunks of moss, grinding it in my hands. So now I'm going to add in the orchid bark. Again, this will take a long time to break down and adds longevity to our substrate. Once I'm happy, I then add in the cocoa husk. This will provide longevity to the substrate as it breaks down over time. It will add substance and help aerate the mix, stopping it compacting down too much. It's also great for drainage and aeration of the mix. So next is the carbon. This acts as a filter element and will provide feeding hotspots for the microfauna. I use aquarium carbon as it's already broken down into small pieces and is much more cost effective than activated carbon. And now it's time for the sand. The sand is really just to aid with drainage. Hey guys, that's all we've got time for today. If you did like today's video, then please do give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to ask me any questions, then throw a comment below. Or if you have any suggestions for any future videos, throw it down in the comments below. And I will see you in the next video.